All right, let's jump right in. Picture this, a university where pretty much everything, the professors, the research, even the admin staff, is run by AI. Sounds a bit sci-fi, doesn't it? Well, maybe not. Today, we're going to dig into HIKMA, this really wild idea for a university that's almost completely run by artificial intelligence. And get this, it's inspired by the ancient house of wisdom, the Beit al-Hikmah. So what happens when you smash together those ancient ideals with today's craziest tech? That's what we're here to find out.
So let's just sit with that for a second. An 80% AI-run university. And we're not talking about some fancy spell checker or a scheduling bot. No, no. We mean 80% of the entire operation. What does that even look like? How does that work? And maybe the biggest question of all, if AI is doing 80% of the work, what's left for us humans? That's the big puzzle HIKMA is trying to piece together. And the answer they've come up with is, well, it's called the 80-20 collaboration model. The concept is actually pretty simple, but man, is it revolutionary. Basically, you let the AI handle 80% of the work. All the boring, repetitive, soul-crushing stuff that just drains your time and energy. And what does that do? It frees up people, the humans in the loop, to focus 100% on that other 20%. The good stuff, the creativity, the big ideas, the inspiration. Okay, so we're talking about this 80-20 university. Let's dive into the first big idea here, this new model for academia. What does this actually mean in practice? The whole philosophy behind it is called harmonic collaboration. Sounds pretty cool, right? Let's unpack what that's all about.
So harmonic collaboration, it's really just a smart way of splitting up the work. Think about all the junk that drives people crazy in academia today, right? Grading a mountain of essays, trying to schedule a million meetings, writing up those endless reports. In the HIKMA model, the AI just takes care of all of it. It handles the grunt work, and that lets the human experts get back to doing what they actually love, what they're good at, actually inspiring students and making breakthrough discoveries.
I think this quote just nails it. Humans inspire, guide, supervise, and verify. AI performs the heavy lifting. That's the whole deal right there. It's a real partnership. Humans are like the architects, They come up with the vision, they oversee everything, make sure it's all on track. And the AI, it's the master builder that just gets the job done perfectly. Okay, so we've got the big idea down. But what does this feel like for, say, a student? All right, enough with the theory. Let's get down to brass tacks. What would learning look like inside one of these AI-generated classrooms? Let's imagine you're a student at HIKMA. What's your day-to-day actually like?
Okay, now this is where it starts to get pretty wild. The whole process of creating a course, it's basically all automated. The AI doesn't just spit out a syllabus. It builds the weekly modules, it creates the lecture slides, it even writes up the notes for the instructor. So the professor's job completely changes. They're not a lecturer anymore. They're more like a curator, a guide, a mentor. And the downstream effect of all this automation is, well, it's kind of mind-blowing. Because you have all that crazy efficiency, the price of education just falls through the floor. Look at this number, $300 for a full 15-week university-level course. Just think about what that means for access to education. Suddenly, top-tier learning could be available to millions of people who are just completely priced out of the system right now. But, okay, what about help? If you get stuck, is there anyone there for you? Well, in this model, every single student gets their own personal AI scholar tutor. And this is not your average chatbot, okay? This thing is an advanced AI that actually learns your style. It can answer super complex questions right then and there. And it's on 24/7. It's basically like having an expert TA who's always available and never needs to sleep. Pretty cool. So that's the classroom covered. What about research?
Right, so HIKMA's vision is way bigger than just teaching. They want to apply that same 80-20 rule to research and discovery. And the goal here is, honestly, it's breathtaking. They want to accelerate innovation to machine speed. How in the world would you even do that?
For anyone who's an innovator or a researcher, this could be a total game changer. Just imagine you've got this brilliant idea, and you have an AI that can draft the patent for you, or it can write up a killer grant proposal to get you the funding you need. It could even build you a working prototype of a new app. You're talking about tasks that normally take a whole team months of work, and now they can be done in like a fraction of the time.
Of course, if you're going to have this massive explosion of super fast research, you need a whole new way to handle it all. So HIKMA proposes its own publication ecosystem. And it's not just about, publishing papers. It's this whole integrated system. You've got different journals for different fields, open archives for the AI-generated stuff, even places to publish and share grant proposals. It's all designed to be the self-fueling engine for constant innovation.
And speaking of bringing people together, let's talk about one of the most audacious parts of this whole plan, the academic conference. Now, anyone who's ever been involved with one knows they're a logistical nightmare. They take months, sometimes a year, to plan. HIKMA says they can do a full-scale international conference in 1 week. 1 week! How is that even possible?
Okay, just look at this comparison for a second, because these numbers are absolutely wild. A normal conference, you need dozens of staff, it takes months of planning, and it costs a fortune. We're talking like $1 million Qatari rial. The HIKMA AI version, 1 or 2 people to supervise, planned in under a week, and it cost about 5% of the traditional price. I mean, that level of efficiency is just, it's almost hard to wrap your head around.
The secret sauce here is, you guessed it, end-to-end automation. The AI is doing all of that heavy lifting, all of it. It can generate papers to get conversations started, it can run the entire peer review process, it builds the schedule, and it can even summarize the sessions after they happen. Which, of course, brings us back to that really important question. With all this automation, where do the people fit into this picture?
So if the AI is doing all the work, what's left for us? Well, this is where the global HIKMA community comes into play. Think of this as the human glue. It's the network that connects all these different parts of the university.
This is where that crucial 20%, the human part, really shines. The global HIKMA community is meant to be the vibrant, living heart of the whole system. It's the space where people can actually connect, debate ideas, team up on new projects, and share what they've learned. It's a really good reminder that even when you have all this amazing AI, the whole point is still to bring people together to learn and discover. And so that leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? HIKMA paints this incredible picture of the future, right? A future where education is super affordable and accessible, where research moves at lightning speed, and where we're all freed from boring work. But as we hand over more and more of this heavy lifting to AI, are we really just empowering ourselves to be more creative? Or are we risking losing something vital, something that's fundamentally human in the process? That's the question we really need to think about as we head into this wild new future.